Why is a politician's message a sufficient test? Are you okay if I record?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, have a seat. Um, yeah, some people would call it a belief. Um, Something that you're convinced, something that you're confident is true, or sometimes I say accurate. Um, Something that's meaningful to you, something that you think is true. And what I'll do is I'll ask questions that kind of focus on how you arrived at the belief or the conclusion, and what supports your confidence that it's true.
But what if it's a two-part?
Two-part,
Yeah.
we might focus on the part that you're most convinced in. Maybe you can give me an example of what you're thinking of, and we can see where it goes.
Well, it's kind of personal. I don't know if I should bring it up.
Yeah, whatever
He's
you're
got something. He's got a fish or something. Or a frog. I think he's got a frog. Because it was black.
snack time.
Yeah.
Maybe a lizard or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to you. Whatever you're comfortable sharing. It does seem like the conversation is more meaningful if it's a conclusion that's meaningful to you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, ice cream is good, but I'm not sure how much that would like affect your behavior. One of the things that I mention is it helps if you choose something that if you found out tomorrow that it was not true, your behavior would be different. So I don't know if that helps, but
Yeah.
and I have some other like just general questions I can ask to get us started to kind of help out. But if you already have something in mind that you want to explore, we can.
Let's hear your general questions.
Okay. Um, on a scale from 0 to 100, how confident are you that when I let this pen go, it'll fall to my whiteboard?
Oh, 100.
100?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. On that same scale, what is the percentage of your conclusions that you think are accurate? Thank you. Like, what percentage of your conclusions do you think are accurate?
Well, I'm kind of a stubborn-headed person. I can be so. Pretty much. If I'm in a malaise about something at all, I usually go to the. It's the way it is. You know. pick a. I don't leave things open ended
Okay.
much. I pretty much have to come to a definitive. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
So let's say you have a total of 100 conclusions or a total of 100 beliefs. I know that you have probably way more than that, but let's just say you have 100. What percentage of those do you think are true?
Maybe half.
Half? So 50?
Yeah.
Okay. So would you say that you're convinced that about 50% of your conclusions are accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. How many do you hope are accurate?
At this age, I'm not sure I care.
You don't care if do you care if your conclusions are accurate?
Well, I wouldn't say I don't care. Yeah, I do care. Like, I don't have a good relationship with my daughter right now. And there's all kinds of data and information that I cycle through and wonder what the causes are, and, you know, but I really don't know. So that's always going to be open-ended, I think.
Okay.
I mean, definitively, I have ideas, but
This is a question about your preference. Um, what percentage of your conclusions would you prefer to be accurate?
I'm not sure it matters to me.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I mean, as long as my safety and my well-being isn't threatened, I mean, I make my choices and I live with them, you know.
Okay.
And I'm not going to make it easy on you, am I?
No, it's interesting. I kind of like digging into that kind of thing because it's like, well, maybe I can ask you this. Do you think that people's beliefs affect their behavior?
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay. Do your conclusions affect your behavior?
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah.
Okay. Um, what would be a good reason to care if your conclusions are accurate?
Well, maybe politics. You know,
Okay.
maybe who to choose for president.
Okay. How do you decide which conclusions you care to be true or not true?
By information that I gather along the way.
What process do you use to determine which conclusions to care about?
I'm trying to select the most unbiased news I can get,
Okay.
to get information, facts.
Okay. It sounds like to me that you're interested in having reliable sources to arrive at conclusions.
It
Would
helps.
that be fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Why do you care if your sources are reliable?
It gives me confidence in what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I mean, especially when I look at how Trump followers are gobbling up bad information and then doing things like storming the Capitol.
Uh-huh.
That's, yeah, I think it's important to have good information and truthful information. Truth is important.
That would be an example of when it matters if people's beliefs are true or the sources they're using to support those beliefs are reliable.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe on that same scale, what percentage of our community members' beliefs would you prefer be accurate?
Um, I feel like it's not really a concern of mine. I feel like I moved to a part of the country where I can feel comfortable with the way choices that people make, more so than, you know, like I have a neighbor who's moving. The only reason they live in my neighborhood, and they're originally from the Northeast, conservative part of the country, is because it's close to her work. Now she's retired. They want to go where they really want to live, which was, it's out in the country down in Mossy Rock, where I think it's more conservative,
Mhm.
and they feel like they'll be less influenced by our state's politics. But for me, I live here because of those politics.
Mm.
Some people are uncomfortable by them and want to move out in a more remote area where they're, I don't know, less affected by it.
Do the beliefs of community members outside of our community, people that live outside of our community, do their beliefs affect you?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they affect the planet with climate change right now. Of course they do.
Okay. And it sounded like you were saying that you feel pretty safe in this area because um, because they don't affect you, or
No, I feel like we have a buffer.
okay,
So, well, naturally we have a buffer because of our climate anyway. We've done things environmentally that protect what we have um, in Washington.
hmm
So,
okay. Now that we've kind of gone through that, have you thought of anything that you want to explore, a conclusion that you have? I have another thought experiment that we can do if you're interested that
yeah,
might generate.
nothing's coming to the top yet, so maybe we should.
Yeah, this is my quantum claim generator. And it's basically just a bunch of words written down on pieces of paper. And I'll have you pick one, and you can define the word or talk about it however you want. And sometimes that'll generate an idea that you feel strongly about, that you might want to explore. Does that sound cool?
Yeah, I mean, I could pick climate change,
Climate
and
change?
I've concluded that it is man-made, so maybe that's one that
Do you want to talk about climate change?
maybe that'd be a good one. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
we'll do this next time.
okay. Well, let's see one word.
You want to do
Yeah,
one?
we'll just see what one
Okay.
word looks like since you went to the effort.
All right. And you can skip it. You don't have to talk about the one that you picked.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you can move on to another one.
Okay.
It's okay.
Violence. That's a good one.
What is it?
Violence.
Violence.
Yeah, it's a real good one.
Yeah. So I write down words to put in here that I have a hard time defining, and I find that the people that I talk to seem to have a hard time defining these words.
Well, there's a lot of relevance right now with Ukraine and Black Lives Matter, and yeah, that's what's causing a lot of people to think the world's going crazy right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you want to talk about violence or climate change? Or we might be able to blend the two ideas together. It's up to you. Whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, violence is pretty. What's a big one? Let's do climate change.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your conclusion about climate change?
It's man-made, man-caused.
Okay, climate change is human caused?
Yeah, human-caused, yeah.
Okay. Might have to get another pen. What was my name's David.
I'm Christopher.
You're Christopher?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you bring another marker? Do you need to put one out?
Sometimes it takes a little while for
Oh.
it to get on hot, I think.
Yeah.
Did I spell it correctly?
CHRISTOPHER, yeah.
Cool. And climate change is human caused?
Yeah.
Okay. Scale of 0 to 100. How confident are you that that's true?
I'm 90.
90?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the main reason that supports your 90% confidence?
Al Gore did a good documentary about the industrialization of man and the graphs that he showed and the timing of when things started to go south, the planet started to warm, and yeah. So.
An Inconvenient Truth, I think is
Yeah.
what it's called?
Yep.
Is that the one you're referring to?
Yeah.
So Al Gore's message is the reason that supports your confidence the most? Would you say that?
That and just watching the news, it's the ice, the polar ice caps. Just a lot of the reporting on polar ice caps and the water levels rising. And it's just like a daily, the wildfires, you know, the planet's warming, and so it's just a compilation of a lot of the news and
Okay.
yeah, news.
News?
Yeah.
Okay. What would increase your confidence that it's true? What would take you from 90 to 91 or 95 or higher?
Well, it's already kind of happened. The start of the pandemic when a lot of people were off the road and things got fairly calm very quickly because no one can really travel. Airline travel ground to a halt, and things just got so much better environmentally overnight. So that really boosted, the argument.
What would you have to learn that you don't already know to increase your confidence?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what that 10% would be. Um, I'm so close to it now. I don't know what the smoking gun would be environmentally.
You can't think of anything that would raise your confidence from 90 to higher than 90 that climate change is human caused? It's okay if you don't. Just curious.
Yeah, I can't think of
Okay.
one thing.
Can you think of anything that would lower your confidence?
No. I mean, if a new study came out maybe that contradicted that the crossing of industrialization and the rise in temperatures, maybe, but the science all seems to lead in the same direction.
Okay. Um, if Al Gore were to get on the news tomorrow and say, I changed my mind, climate change is not caused by humans, how much decrease would your confidence go?
It wouldn't. You know what subject I probably should have chosen was what are the things that cause cancer? Because on a daily basis, what do? They come out and say this gives you cancer, and 3 weeks later they say, guess what? We changed our mind.
Coffee's bad for you. Coffee's good for you.
Red wine,
Eggs are bad for you. Eggs are good for you.
right?
Okay, so in that context, because it sounded like before Al Gore's message helped support your 90% confidence, but you're saying if Al Gore changed his mind, that wouldn't affect your confidence.
No, and in countries with lesser democracy, people change their minds under duress. So
Oh,
I used to say that
okay.
like the basketball player that's went to trial
In Russia?
was forced to say things that she would normally say.
Right.
Yeah.
So you would have to be convinced that Al Gore was not under duress to come on the news to say that. And
Yeah, and that his data was wrong. So someone else, another scientist, or a team of scientists would have come out and say your data was bad. So that might change my thinking. I mean, the other side's argument is that it's cyclical every
Mhm.
thousand or so years.
like it would happen anyway,
Yeah,
whether we were
right.
driving trucks or not.
Yeah, man has zero effect. This is going to happen whether we're here or not. If enough scientists said that, then that might cause me to be confused, but I still don't think it would be
It
persuaded.
wouldn't affect your confidence at all. You'd be at 90 no matter what.
Well, that's the stubborn part of me. That's
Okay.
that's the German, Irish.
Do you do you see any value in having ways to tell whether you should adjust your confidence in a conclusion?
Yeah, I mean, you can make a mistake and be wrong about something. I have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you open to being wrong about this?
Well, I'm open to anything, really,
Okay.
I think.
Cool.
If you're wrong, you're wrong. You know.
Hmm. Is there a way to test this conclusion?
That kind of goes back to what if Al Gore came out and said something different. So I don't.
That would be a test. That would be a sufficient test for you. What Al Gore says.
It'd be a challenge
Okay.
to what he said previously.
Okay. Why is a politician's message a sufficient test?
Well, he's studied on the subject. He's supposed to be knowledgeable about it.
Generally speaking, though, like the test is listening to a politician's message. Like, generally speaking, why is that a sufficient test to be this confident?
Maybe it's the word test that's throwing me off.
Okay.
Is there another way you can frame it?
Back to the cancer thing. Let's say somebody said coffee causes cancer. Could we test that?
You can do research studies, yeah.
There's a way to find out if the conclusion is true or not true, right? Maybe another way I can ask this is there a way for you to tell that this is not true? Is there a way to falsify this?
I don't see how.
Do you think it's important to be able to tell how a conclusion could be wrong?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I was wrong about Anthony Como.
Oh,
I thought he was doing a great job on the pandemic, and then,
the governor of New York?
yeah, and then it came out all these women that he had, so I was wrong. I was definitely wrong about him. I made like a fake post or two on Facebook saying what a great job he's doing with the pandemic, and then boom, his character just plummeted almost overnight.
Did his character about women have any effect on his ability to manage a pandemic?
So then now you're getting into why support Trump, because he gets things done supposedly for one half of the country.
I'm interested
You
in
know?
how a politician's message can affect your confidence in any conclusion, I guess.
Trust.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Trust you put a lot of investment in whether you trust someone.
Integrity.
Okay. As
Morals.
far as what their message might be.
Yeah, them as a person as a whole. Integrity, morals, ethics. I mean, the examples are so like Trump next to Gore,
Yeah.
Every word out of Trump's mouth is a lie. But Gore is pretty much selfishly was working more to try and get us to understand climate change. So,
Could a despicable person make claims that are true?
yeah.
Okay. Any questions for me? I think that's all the questions
No.
I have.
No.
Okay.
I hope you got something out of it. I don't know what, but
Are you still at 90?
on climate change? Yeah, I mean, I think it's arrogant to be 100% sure about everything.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we can be. Like UFOs. UFOs maybe on 60%, 70%.
Your open-mindedness is that what's keeping you from going higher than 90?
Yeah, try and leave some wiggle room.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to like blanket across the board.
Yeah.
This is who I am. This is what I'm about on every subject. I try to take each subject at face value.
Cool. I respect that. I respect your willingness to be mistaken and your willingness to have room to be higher or lower in your confidence.
I don't think you can take in new information and new ideas and understand things if you're 100% locked into your position.
Hmm.
And that's the problem we have with Trump and his cults, is they're all locked into his dogma and his thinking, and there's no wiggle room.
Mm-hmm.
We're on another topic we could have talked about was democracy, because we're under big threat right now, huge threat. The way that Trump sided with Putin while he was in office and gave Putin Syria on a silver platter the way he did, and betrayed the Kurds. That was, yeah. It's really evident. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, there's so much information out there that's being told in the news about his Russian loans and how a lot of them are coming due now, and he owes so much money to the Russians. Why Americans can't put two and two together? Well, looks like a duck, walks like a duck. Maybe it's a duck. You know?
What if Trump would say climate change is definitely human caused?
Well, he already does on one given day. He's done it like a handful of times.
Uh-huh.
He does that to...
Depends on his audience.
or the timing of what's going on with him.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, he does that. That's what's truly insane about it. He's a sociopath.
Yeah.
That's what's insane about his methodologies. He's like the wind. You don't know what's going to come out of his mouth on any given day.
Yeah.
But, no, then we'll get back to the character thing. His character is just, it's in the dump.
And that causes you to be more skeptical about what he says, his character.
Yeah, and the sphere of people around him. I mean, that's the January 6th hearings have been very interesting to see who, and I knew all going through this whole 4-year process with him that some people were there to help shore up our democracy. They didn't want to be there, but they were there to do that. But now the ones after the fact who were debriefing, and the one woman who stood up and went to Congress, now there's more coming, standing up. They all want to do it, but they're all threatened.
And it all seems like they're from his own group, right? Like,
well, they're Republicans.
Yeah.
But I mean, Republicans are as good as Democrats. They just have different ways of looking at the same thing.
mm-hmm.
No, he's a phenomenon unto himself. You know, even people close to him. You know, if you watched any of the January 6 hearings, but his own attorneys and his own presidential campaign manager said he's batshit crazy.
That's what I mean. Like, people from his own group are kind of coming out like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool. I really appreciate you stopping and chat with me.
Yeah, you're an interesting guy. I like interesting people.
Thanks. You as well. I really appreciate our conversation before our interview and the interview. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm here often. I usually hang out at Capitol Lake because seems to be more traffic. Up at the Capitol, Percival Landing, up and down this trail, some of the parks. So if you see me again, if you want to have another chat, if you want to do the quantum claim generator, or if you want to talk about another one of the conclusions that you mentioned, I would definitely want to have another interview. I'd be honored.
Sure. Yeah, you bet.
Christopher.
Yep. David.
Awesome.
It's really coming down.